my job, I communicate about my night, and honestly, like, my boyfriend will tell me, he'll be like, "Oh, when they say this, you should say that.
So
When
you
that
tell
happens, you
him
should do
like
this."
what you do in the club. You're telling him about dances you're giving and things that are going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, like, I'll
And
tell him
he's
about,
totally
like,
cool with that. He's like,
yeah,
"Yeah, man,
He's trying to help
I
her make
love
more money.
hearing about other strange men having hands on my woman." He's like, "You're in a relationship and your line of work is less than traditional. How do you and your boyfriend reconcile that? How does he feel about the dancing and the OnlyFans and the cam work and all that other good stuff? Like, do you guys do it together? Are you working with other performers? Are you doing solo? Like, how does it all work out? How does this work?"
So with my OnlyFans, I only do solo. I don't do anything with him or anybody else. It's all me by myself. So he's totally fine with that. And I think that he's okay with that because, going to a physical strip club and going and dancing, I'm making like physical contact with people. So honestly, I think that he'd actually prefer OnlyFans over the club dynamic, but we have a really strong foundation and there's a lot of trust because he knows when I go to work, he knows when I'm home, you know what I mean? And I don't he trusts me and I'm not doing anything that I'm not supposed to be doing. Like I'm strictly there to entertain and I think that there's a very big difference between an entertainer and a stripper.
Yeah, but your average strip club goer doesn't know that, right? Your average strip club goer is not a guy that understands that it's purely a transaction. Like these are guys that are going that are lonely. They're going because they need the attention and affection. And same guys are subscribing to your OnlyFans, right? So like these guys are marks. They're not necessarily like a business transaction. So it's like, does that not give you pause when it comes to this? Like you're kind of creating this fantasy that doesn't really exist. And I mean, that's all good?
Well, it's a job. It's a job just like any other job. So that's where very strict boundaries come in with my line of work. Like, yes, I'm there to be the fantasy, I'm there to play and pretend and whatever, but it's also my job to figure out because there's so many, every man comes in a strip club for a different reason. Everyone has their own, it might be, I mean, I could tell you rebuttals that I get all day from guys about, I'll be like, hey, do you want to dance? And they're like, oh, I'm just here supporting my friend. Oh, I'm just here because my friend brought me. Oh, well, I'm broke. Like I I hear all the things. So when you get the guy that says yes, there's a lot of different things to look at in the dynamic of them saying yes or them saying no, but when they say yes, it's figuring out what is it that they're lacking? What is it that they're looking for? Because even when I go for a dance, I might get the guy who's super aggressive, or I might get the guy who's a total gentleman who keeps his hands to his side and he just lets me dance and he's very respectful. There's no one size fits all box. So I communicate about my job, I communicate about my night, and honestly, like, my boyfriend will tell me, he'll be like, oh, when they say this, you should say that.
So
When
you
that
tell
happens, you
him
should do
like
this.
what you do in the club, you're telling him about dances you're giving and things that are going
Yeah,
on,
yeah, like I'll
and
tell him
he's
about,
totally
like,
cool with that. He's like, "Yeah,
yeah.
man,
He's trying to help
I
her make
love
more money.
hearing about other strange men having hands on my woman." He's like, "That
I mean, not exactly like that way. He knows what happens, but at the same time, he knows that I'm there to make money. I'm not having sex with anyone. I'm not doing like, again, I'm not doing anything that I'm not supposed to
why
be doing.
that?"
I'm
But like,
entertaining.
why not just like you can make money doing a bunch of different things, right? Like, why this is a particular job or a particular profession?
I'm sorry. Hold on one second.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one on one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.